Ooh. We really going off. February 20th, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey Defendant's Antechamber. I never expected this. Would have thought that we'd be back here again so soon. We're on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need at least more court experience as possible. Well, yeah, I suppose it's true, but for the person in the dock, it may be, well, maybe his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning? Is it Natsumi? Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsumi, good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. Oh, they really do be. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. Oh, so I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I'm so worried I'm gonna catch a wink. Now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Well, literary people take things so literally. Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsumi. I wish I had 9 lives when all future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified, too trouble. Really? Because I can feel tremors on the floor. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yeah? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. No, why that might be, Miss Suzuto? Probably because he's Japanese. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So the all-knowing look on your face is just coincidental then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zykes? Is that right, Miss Suzuto? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could to find this morning, and yes, Lord Van Zykes on the front page of every one. I knew it! Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zyk's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. Trial of Magnus McGilded. What a horrid experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. We want to have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder? Not even a murder, it's just the question the papers are asking, and they're all speculating various answers. Mundane? Mundane is the most significant saga of the century to some of us! Oh dear! I mean, no offense, Mr. Natsumi, but it's how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of the infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. But there's also blatant similarities to the trial from 2 days ago. Oh, that we're here? Yes, I agree. Locum student Naruhodo Esquire, it's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it's you who stands against the legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please don't. I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers. I'm afraid that there's only one other explanation. There can only be one other example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, that's just my luck. Why would I be represented by a man with a frail fortune? Mother, please lucky lawyer, alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsumi, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it is true. I'm just a student new to London with little in the ways of experience or skills or luck. I promise you this: we'll fight your corner until the bitter end. I will believe in you, Mr. Natsumi. Oh, benevolent locum student, Master Haruno Esquire. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsumi. Whatever happens, we'll always be by your side. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant Miss Mikatoba Esquires. I am in your debt forever. I shall never forget this street kindness as long as I live. I love Lexi Natsumi. Mr. Natsumi, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly move your way into the courtroom at once. Alright then, Mr. Natsumi, it's time. Let's go. Yes! This is it. Second appearance in a British court of law. Anyway, my second trial against the Reaper. I gotta remember how to do his voice. Been so long. Hope you're not watching. Hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I believe in my client to the last. Like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. I am not. I don't remember anything about this trial. Actually, I think I remember the jury. That's like it. Because the jury was wacky. February 20th, 10 a.m. Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, fuck. I still haven't thought of it. Fucking voices. I'm just gonna use my regular voice. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. That's what you're getting. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nepalese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Uzuto-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. You'll be like, coincidence, I think not. Very true, and the most fascinating, if dark, trial it was. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. Look, there's fair play. Is that lady first? No, that's not lady first. Thank you, counsels. Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out on your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? You never know, you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Well, I must warn you, I'm rather much more ruthless than I appear. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow. I'm afraid to say anything is quite possible. The mustache foreigner did the deed. Yeah, that's the wife. Come on, what are you waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. Very well, let us proceed. I'm running out of voices. Like I had any to begin with. The opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zykes. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsumi. And while that country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of most sinister act of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. A knife crime. I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are. Just look at the, oh my god, just look at the sallow complexion and short stature. He is one of those dreadful Japanese. Well, let's get this over with me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, didn't quite catch that. I already forgot all their voices. Someone help. Pray forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in the great chamber. Also, I slammed my desk. I'm gonna try to not do that next time. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand. Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please. Oh, Gregson, no, Gregson, please! Gregson, no, don't do this to me, Gregson. Your name and occupation, please. Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard. Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector? The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be. Yes, having been stabbed in the back by an attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. It was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since. What? They don't even know who she is for sure? Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger? Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector. Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at this street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. Happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare? Thoroughfare? A wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since snowed at the victim. Miss Green was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young woman's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file for everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you please. Case file has been entered into the court record. Case file. File containing an overview of the case and details about the victim. She was found with a knife in her back and is currently in hospital, yet to regain consciousness. What of the weapon that was used? Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back. Hey, I have that kind of knife. Ouch, that big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. A scraggy-looking Saseki-san, I suppose. Common or garden jackknife, I would say. Rather nondescript. I actually have, like, that exact knife. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Jackknife. A large but commonplace folding knife. It was found lodged in the victim's back. Now then, what do we know about the motive? Money or valuables, I presume? Well, we could tell by looking at the woman's possessions. It seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment towards the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Asumi, doesn't appear to go out much. At this point in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
You raised my hand. If theft and grievance have been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsumi possibly have for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Oh no. Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery. But your words have soured and soured. Wait, soured? Or soured? It's hollowed banquet. Hold on, I'm sorry. Give me 2 seconds. Give me bouquet? Word. Bouquet. It's hollowed bank. I almost did it again. It's hollowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That would be beyond question. Well, Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary comes to arrest the Nepalese man. Yes, sir. Gregson, your voice has changed. Please send help. Mr. Natsumi's arrest. They said it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusual light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran, scattered his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from the bookshop, it seemed. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to and found the bloke to arrest him. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord, I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident. He do be stabbed. I can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I'll take the photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector. Photograph of the scene taken by a policeman just after the incident occurred. A large knife can be seen thrust into the victim's back. You Nepalese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well, forgive me, Lord Van Zykes, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it. But what are you doing, Miss Isoto? Do go on. Natsumi here admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what about all had happened. As I was walking along the accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another head of man. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, and I just went to overtake her. Suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed onto the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my cursed lodging. A green overcoat. Oh, that's actually what the woman in the print is wearing. Oh my, photographic print in full color. What would the world come up with next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. Oh my god, well, we slammed the desk already. Sheesh, we're only like 5 minutes in. I haven't even cross-examined. There's no one else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there's no one else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. The fact that the accused concedes. Seems the cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please. Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. Use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Cross-examination. Natsumi's arrest. As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred and there was unusually light fog. I don't care. Pause. Hold it. Light fog, you say? We had light fog here earlier. Kinda wacky. Well, light for London. You can see the opposite side of the street for once. Not much further though. That's light, is it? At least parts, yes. Never not something I expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course. I read that London is famous for its fog. Is that true? In my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. How quaint. Yes, well, it's not something us Londoners tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate. I see. At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it's heavy. Sometimes you can even see you can't see your own hand at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day, I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling. Suzuto-san, I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt laminated by the accused. Hold it! I'm able to state that with any certainty. Quite simply, my learned friend, because this is what the witness to the crime has told us. Witness is? Yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he? That's right. One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard. That is correct, ma'am. And we must hear their testimony. Prosecution will, of course, call them to the stand, should it be necessary. But, wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. I don't know how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation of your tiny island in the east. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated by the night by gas street lamps. Ah! The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime. Right, here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness. Well, I think Chinese people did it before you guys. You stupid? It means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. If I can just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. Seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. Go back. Hold it! Hold it! Wait a minute. From behind, you say? That's right, as you can see from this print. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of this weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back. Did you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in a critical condition? Comatose, no less? Yep. I'm afraid so, my lord. Yes, she's been treating at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'll come around before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It would have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of events. Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbing wide eyes, I'm afraid. It's just the Japanese people. That's just how we look. That's how we draw the enemies that don't exist yet. Mr. Natsumi belongings, I think you'll find it all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused easily could have carried all 3 books in one hand. What? I can barely carry. Oh, wait, hold on. I have books. I do read. Did I? Okay. Well, how thick are those books? It's about a catalyst or a vortex big. Maybe if I cradle them under my arm. Maybe I could carry also a knife in the other hand. So maybe you have a point. Which means, but these are paperbacks, not hardcovers. His other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example. Very clever, isn't he? What do you mean? Made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsumi had his hands full with his books. He managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have been before we knew it was there. You mean to say that the victim was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? Then why did he drop them? Must have been what happened, my lord. Yes. Then why did he drop them? Being a number of old books he just brought, it was on his way home from a bookshop. Hold it! Hold it! Wait a second. The defendant apparently visits the second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. The command of the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. Book's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, we'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Or bond books. The closest second-hand bookshop is the accused lodging is the place here. Bourbon Books. Borrowed books? A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mere Scrum Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in a lodging on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he might have taken home. What if he didn't get... What if he went to a... What if he went to a different one? We have a receipt, don't we? Yeah, no, he didn't. Wait, what? Okay, well, that's a contradiction. Something like this. That's wrong? Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The attorney would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from this particular shop. Mr. Naruhodo, I think that's what the inspector just told us. It turned out to be very vital importance. Yeah, it's also wrong. Yeah, I agree. Important point that the inspector just made being the bookshop's name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor with a you, like you British people like? What? Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of a vital importance. Maybe? Oh, hell, you know. I mean, yes! It could be a very important clue. Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Well, I see the contradiction. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say. This man be any more sardonic? I don't know what that word means. He was on his way home from Bourbon Books, secondhand books that they apparently patron. That's well, let's save. That's wrong.
Objection.
If I could stop you right there, Inspector Gregson. What is it, sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsumi's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books. And you found that in the accused room, did you? Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books. Your Books? Y-O-R-E? I presume. Is that the way to get the joke? Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsumi did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books. Oh my god, yo, it's objection, boys. What? Doctor, know of any other bookshop? Yes, sir.